Hi everyone, welcome to Barsan Homestead. I'm Sandy.
And I'm Barney.
We have been living on our property now for a year, just under a year, and it has been an amazing journey for us. We had hoped to get back to you right away, but with everything that happened, we just didn't.
No time.
There was no time.
I know I figured it would be very short time and we'd be back like in 3 weeks, but we didn't expect to stay the winter even in our camper.
No, we thought we'd be in the cabin by then.
Mm-hmm. The little camper we built works so great. And we're still in it. And we can still talk to each other, sit beside each other. We're pretty content. One of our neighbors told us that if we survive the winter in this camper, which we have, he said, we're good for another 50 years at least.
40.
Whoa,
40.
I'm
only
going for
40.
50.
Our marriage is good for another 40 years. So we kind of taken his word on that and we're good. We went through some harsh weather. I think Barney said it was minus 40, close to minus 40 there at the coldest.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of minus 20, 25 and 30s. That lasted for weeks and weeks. The Lord blessed us, and every day we were snugly warm in here. It actually has been good. We have some wonderful neighbors that check in on us and make sure we're doing okay.
Yeah.
We have family members that phone regularly to make sure that we're not locked in the camper with the frost. And so it's been a really, it's been challenging.
Eventful.
But
full of blessings.
Absolutely. But some of the things that we got done in the past year, we did a video on the Secan pad and we got the Secans moved. That was one of our last videos. The first thing we did was a transformation on Old Blue to turn it into a log deck.
Right.
Because
right.
we had a bunch of logs that had to come from the rental property up to the homestead. And
we took the sides off, made a little flat deck.
Yeah.
Well, the flat deck was there, took the sides off, then put little stakes on it to haul our logs.
And it worked fabulously.
And then we made smaller sides.
We did. But so anyway, we did a little bit of a transformation. We had to get it up and running for a water truck for hauling our water.
Mm-hmm.
We had to get that set up. We had to get the outhouse established. So because that was one of the first things that wifey wanted to be done.
Oh, we needed it, especially when we stayed in the camper for the winter.
Living here during the summer, it was... we got into a wasp season. I understand that most of BC, I don't know about the other parts of Canada or United States, but wasps were a real problem here last year.
Really bad.
I got stung many times, as did Barney.
Yeah.
Or maybe you didn't, but I sure did.
I didn't get stung once, to be honest. Sam, we found nests and I took care of those, but there was lots of nests we couldn't find, and as the leaves fell off the trees, we can see nests up high. And they're big. They're about, the one that I could see now is probably this wide and that tall. It's a good foot. Big. And yellow jackets. And when you were picking our strawberries, they didn't like you taking their strawberry. Sam would be picking them, but she'd grab one and get stung. Maybe by 15 bees on it. Hiding.
Yeah. Anyway, they were inside.
Yeah.
But we got through wasp season.
Well, we went out for a stroll on the property, and the wind was blowing really good. And we hadn't even gone, I don't think, 100 feet from the camper.
No.
And I said to Sam, look. And she goes, what? And I went, come here. Shh. And she came up beside me and I went, look. And you got to think we're a mile and a half to about our nearest neighbor.
Thereabouts, yeah.
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 And this is wilderness here. There's wolves, there's bears, there's tons of coyotes. There's, I think it's bobcat, lynx.
Yep.
There's everything here. And anyway, here's a house cat sitting hunting, in hunting mode with its back to us beside our garden area. And so then Sam came up beside me and she got to see it, and
Barney said something and the cat spotted us and started to flee, and then I went kitty kitty kitty, and it stopped and looked. And anyway, we'll tell you the rest of the story afterwards, what happened with that.
Quite a story to that little cat.
Yeah.
Quite a story.
Pretty amazing.
It's just God's hand, I think, preserved this cat.
What's so funny is neither of us like cats. So we have a cat that adopted us. So we now have a cat.
Well, we don't hate cats or anything.
No.
We just prefer, we would prefer to have a dog.
The garden, we did tremendously well. That was
Really
a
good.
really big project last year.
Yeah.
That kept us going. Barney did the driveway. Well, there's a text in the Bible that says, this is paraphrased, do the things in the field first and the house will take care of itself. And so we took that quite literally, and we tried to make sure that we were set up as much as possible, whether we had to be in the camper or whether we got the little cabin done, that we could survive winter.
We worked on our greenhouse in the garden.
Yeah.
Not totally done yet. We had to dig out something a week ago that we had bought at least 12 years ago in preparation to go off grid. And I think we were going to think about it as an ornament. And anyway,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Our ringer.
Oh.
I'm going to tell you what it is. It's a hand ringer. You'll get to see us using it. It's and it works. I'm telling you, it works good. From Lehman's.
Last spring, we had up here in northern BC, there's seasonal wind change, like the winds come and they're very strong, but it's usually at the season changes. And of course we moved here at mid-April and it's just right in time for the winds. Well, doing laundry and hanging them out.
You get to do them twice sometimes.
Twice. And more than one thing. Anyway, because we have no grass anywhere.
Apparently they don't make clothes pegs strong enough these days.
Oh, they were good clothes pegs. I had the dollar store ones, would not cut it at all. I had to go invest in some decent quality bamboo laundry pegs, and they worked. But for sheets and blankets, anything like that, you had to wrap them over the line. If you just clipped them on, they were a kite and they were gone.
I think you had like 5 clothes pegs, 6 clothes pegs on a sheet or something.
10.
10?
10, just to hold them so that they wouldn't go flying off. Or we had bee season, and they like water, but only water that goes through the ringer. And so my little rollers, they would land on my wet sheet on this side, and as my sheet's going through, I couldn't stop it in time, and it went through my rollers, and apparently they're bright yellow on the inside because I would have, a good stain that big on my sheet of bright yellow goo that had to be, and
they're yellow on the outside too.
They're yellow on the outside. They were yellow jackets.
I was working on the solar shed, and Sandy was actually kind of out for a walk with the cat, I think, following you.
Oh, yeah.
And making laps around the yard and down around the garden and back. And she came by me, and I seen her go into the camper. And then she came out, and she came back past me, and I said, "What you doing?" And she goes, "There's something tan colored down by the small dugout down below that we made below the garden." And she said, "It's coming this way. And I don't know what it is. I want to get a picture of it." And I went, "Well, cool." Well, I said, "Wait here with me." And so we just went about 50 feet from our solar shed to the height of land. And our house wasn't there at that time. So we're basically kneeling down by some stuff where our house sits now.
Yeah.
And she goes, "It's a deer. It's a buck. I have another one. Then another one. Then another one. Then another one." They came up. How many were there?
There was 5 and 1 doe.
5 bucks and 1 doe. And the biggest buck came up, and we were nailed down. And we kind of covered our face so they don't make eye contact. And we're watching them. And the biggest... Oh, you got to see the video.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to spoil it.
Yeah, we're going to spoil it. You got to see
Spoiler.
it. I mean, we get close to these things.
Not really intentionally. We don't like animals.
Well, we were standing still.
Yeah, anyway.
They were doing an investigate.
But still, who wants a wild animal with big horns getting close to them? That's not very smart. So anyway. That was a very amazing experience, and we loved that. Visitors, we had some bears going through. We actually had a doe give birth to her little fawn. Yeah. Very close to us, and she stayed close for quite a while.
Yeah, over a month, I would say. Kept it right around the yard here.
Yeah, and then I think the 2 of them are still here. They haven't showed up all winter, so they're somewhere else. There's quite a few around.
Well, we have 2 little herds, a little mule deer herd and a little whitetail herd moving around. They come through the yard and then they move around the property, and around us.
But we spent 1 week on firewood, and we got a mountain of firewood done in that short period of time. And so that was really helpful come winter, once there was a roof on and the wood stove in the cabin. So that worked out really well.
For working in there, that was nice.
We had we did have to get firewood for the camper, because we didn't prepare for that. So,
no, we weren't going to stay in it. And so periodically we would have firewood days, and off we would go to get some logs for the camper here, and then they got to cut them up. And it takes a lot longer when you cut a 16-inch log or a 16-inch block for your wood stove in the house, and then you come to the camper and you get, that's a nice hug, you get a 6-inch block, and then you got to split it for this little stove. It's so peaceful in the country and so quiet.
We can actually hear God talking to us out here. It's just nice when we go to town. There's just so much going on. Your mind is going in 100 different directions, and there's no tranquility there. And here there's tranquility and peace. That was one of the family members came here, and she goes, "It's so peaceful here. It's so quiet." And we were like, "I know, it's beautiful.
Just love it." And it's a beautiful thing. The northern lights, the sunsets, the sunrises. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Sam started hearing the chickadees. She hears them before I do. My hearing just doesn't work on that channel. And
let's just say I hear them and he doesn't at all.
Most times I can't, even in the summer. Hearing aids. Gotta love hearing aids. But the next thing, it was a while ago, I was going across the yard and I heard a bird. And I thought, wait, we're just barely coming out of winter. And it was our first Canadian goose. Yep. It was one lone goose. And in the last 2 weeks, I forgot to tell Sandy, but we did see a bald eagle. I seen a bald eagle, and then we seen one in the yard here. Beautiful, beautiful birds. They're back. And I heard a robin. Yes, about 3 days ago. And it was over by the house up in a tree. And it finally took me a while. I could hear it chirping away. And then finally I seen it. And then it flew off out towards our gate. And so our first robin is back. Good. And so, this is a early bird.
Anyway, there was so many challenges. I didn't get pictures of all the winds, unfortunately, but everything's been a challenge, but it's been good. It has been so good. Yeah. God has blessed us so much.
Blessed us, yeah.
Oh, hey, did you we're matchy today?
Oh, we are matchy,
yeah. Yeah. Just wanted to, we intentionally did that today. We don't always do this.
Pair of rednecks.
We're rednecks, yeah.
Or red shirts, anyway. Pair of red shirts.
God bless you guys. We'll see you in the next video.
Okay, bye for now.